Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, drop a like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. That will definitely help me out in getting my channel to grow. But yeah, let's jump into it. So we're in week 3 of Inktober, and it's going all right. I'm really happy that I planned everything ahead. As this past weekend, I completed 7 paintings to run me through the week. That way I didn't have to worry about it. And it's been quite a crazy week, as I got called into work really early 2 of the days, stayed late one of the days, one of those days that I came in early. So I've been trying to catch up on sleep, and I'm big on reading, but I have moods that I go through where I don't want to read, and then suddenly I do want to read, and I consume everything really fast. So I just finished Death Note not too long ago, and then I read a book that one of my friends on Instagram suggested to me called Super Attractor, and then I read this book that my boss lent to me a while back during my I don't really want to read anything phase, and I read that, and that's called The Silent Patient. That was actually a really good one. I'm excited that I read that. So I spent a lot of time reading during the week. So I'm very happy that I spent all the time painting over the weekend. And it's getting dark now. Now when I get home, there's a little bit, maybe 30 minutes, maybe probably less than 30 minutes of light. And since I've been leaving for work earlier, it's dark in the morning. And anyway, it's starting to, the sunrise is getting pushed back a bit. So there's not a lot of daylight time, so I think I might have to configure a nice artificial lighting setup. I've just been holding off because I've had so much available daylight that I don't have to worry about it. But I do have a photography degree, so at least that'll help me out in figuring out the best way to give you guys really awesome videos. But anyway, with this first painting, I have never drawn a lotus before. I kind of always thought that they were a bit cheesy, and then I realized how complicated they are, and it was kind of fun. I like how the petals cup into each other, and when I was thinking about ash, I'm not sure why, I just immediately thought of fingers, and like fingers with like burnt ends. A lot of artists do, they paint hands with the tips of the fingers very dark, and I really like that aesthetic, so that's what I thought about, and I went with that. I'm starting to dislike the ink that I have. It's a great ink, but what I'm running into is the fact that even though it's called Black Star Matte, it's not very matte. So you'll see when I get into day 2 that the black is reflecting a lot of light. It practically looks like gray. When it comes to the light. So it's been a bit hard to photograph, and a bit disappointing that it's not matte. But it's been all right. The second day I'm a little bit disappointed in, just because I feel like I didn't get the detail that I wanted to, probably because it's so small, but I wanted to keep all of my Inktober prints consistent. So they're all, the actual paintings themselves are 4 by 6 inches, except you'll see later in Inktober a couple of them will not be. They will be 6 inches, but they're thinner, just to emphasize. One of them is longer, just to emphasize the idea that I had. And So doing this one and the really small details was a bit difficult, but I do like how it turned out. And then on the next day, you'll see on my Instagram feed, I was pretty disappointed in this one. I had this idea of this legend of maybe like a rain spirit, because the word for Inktober was petrichor, which means the smell after it's rained, like the first rain of the season. And so I had this idea of an open window, and there was a shadowy figure outside, and the window would be wet with rain, and it just didn't turn out that way. I got the window, I got the shadowy figure. I do wish the figure was more shadowed. And I wish I could have depicted the rain a bit better. At this point, I only had a Gellyroll, and a day later, I had picked up a Uniball white gel pen, and I think the Uniball would have been really nice with this piece because it was a broad one, so I think it would have helped emphasize the raindrops a bit more. And then my idea for the next one was for ephemeral was mayflies, because I found out through my job, I work at a daycare, and so the kids were wondering about bugs, and we were wondering how long certain bugs live, because we had found some moth eggs outside, and we kept them inside to see if they would grow. And so we were trying to research it and see how long do they stay as caterpillars, how long do they live for, and all that good stuff. And then we got to the question of what insect lives the shortest lifespan, and I found out about mayflies, and I feel kind of silly now because a lot of people use that for this prompt, but it's still interesting to me. And I felt the need to include the word ephemeral on the bottom, just aesthetically, because if it was just the mayfly, I feel like not everybody would get it. And it just didn't seem poetic enough. And I feel like adding the word on the bottom made it a bit poetic and interesting. And then for the next day was ornament and eternal. That was, it was okay. I started to feel like I didn't know what I was doing with the ink, which was a really uncomfortable feeling, but I pushed through it, and I feel like things didn't go as smoothly as I wish they had, and it didn't quite turn out how I wanted it to. I feel like I could do better, but I just wanted to keep moving on. And then in the next one, I had this idea of this spirit or creature who would try to hide in the shadows. And so it's hiding against this black and white striped wall in the middle of a black stripe, but you see its eyes, and there's some light coming in from a window, so you see a bit of the outline of the leg, so it's not quite fitting in. And I finished off with this piece, and I really felt like I was just losing it and over it, and things just weren't working out. I ended up trying to push through, and then I ended up outlining it with a Micron, and I never really do that. I'm okay with how it came out. It's just not how I imagined. And I hope that next week, this weekend, when I move forward with the next pieces, that it goes a lot better than how it did last weekend. And I've started to notice that I haven't touched my sketchbook since before Inktober, and I haven't been working on anything or planning anything, and I have this plan for my next project, but I just don't feel the energy to do it yet. I'm going to try to push through, But I think that's what Inktober kind of does to everyone. It kind of works everyone up and then works everyone out and then wears them out. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to do it again next year. I've officially decided I'm definitely not doing Qvember because that sounds like I'll lose my mind. But hopefully a lot of great work will come through. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch my video. Remember to like and subscribe, drop a comment, anything to help support my channel grow. Thank you. Have a great day.